Every landmass on Earth is drifting. Right now. The oceans separating us don't just pull back. They get crushed out of existence as continents violently slam together. What happens to an entire ocean when it gets squeezed off the map? And most importantly, could you actually survive it? What if Earth became Pangea? Ours, right? Fasten your seatbelts. Well, no. 90s disaster movies do it that way, but real geology is painfully slow. The fastest tectonic plate speed ever recorded in Earth's history was the Indian plate slamming into Asia. 20 centimeters per year, sustained for 10 million years. The normal average, 4 centimeters a year. Fingernail speed. If real geology takes millions of years, what does it mean to compress that into a pressure cooker of a few weeks? What survives? The bill comes due. Force 250 million years of plate movement into weeks, and the immense energy that normally dissipates over eons has to go somewhere. It releases all at once, straight into mega-quakes on a scale never recorded in human history. To put it in perspective, the largest earthquake ever instrumentally measured was the 1960 Valdivia quake in Chile, magnitude 9.5. That single earthquake released roughly 30% of all the seismic energy released by every earthquake on Earth combined over the last 100 years. One afternoon. A third of a century's worth of earthquakes, gone, all at once. In our compressed timeline, you get that exact magnitude of violent release back to back, without the multi-decade gap to recover. You do not get a single cinematic jolt where you hide under a desk. You get weeks of the ground never fully settling. Your teeth rattle in your skull. Solid rock breaking is just the warm-up act. Solid rock isn't the only thing with nowhere left to go. As the Atlantic closes, an entire ocean gets evicted. Water does not compress. All that displaced Atlantic water gets violently forced outward, generating catastrophic tsunami waves that radiate across the remaining global ocean. Headed our way, smashing straight into the US West Coast, Los Angeles, Long Beach, the entire Pacific coastline, washed completely off the map. The Atlantic holds over 300 million cubic kilometers of water. Imagine taking enough displaced water to fill the Grand Canyon over 74,000 times and dumping it straight onto California. Oh God. But look past the giant wave. Let's talk about your retirement portfolio. Every container port, every shipping lane, every single route global trade depends on no longer has a coastline. Remember the Ever Given container ship wedged in the Suez Canal in 2021? It shut down shipping for days and made international headlines. Scale that single choke point up to permanent, everywhere, forever. Electronics, oil, semiconductor components, the everyday retail goods you rely on, wiped out. Stressing about your 401k? Stop pushing the panic button. Good news is, there is no need to worry about a market crash. There won't be a market left to open. Your stock portfolio is officially meaningless numbers sitting under a mile of salt water. Every port, every lane, gone. But that water had to go somewhere. Wherever it ends up, it creates weather that doesn't currently exist on Earth. Moving inland feels like the smart play. Let's head to the American Midwest, the Grain Belt. It is chock full of wheat and corn that feeds this country and a massive chunk of the world. But on this newly formed landmass, the Midwest is trapped smack dab in the middle of a deep, endless interior, completely cut off from ocean moisture. It's called the rain shadow effect. Land far from oceans dries out because rain-bearing winds lose their water crossing mountains before reaching the interior. Coastal India gets pounded by monsoon rain, while the Tibetan Plateau is a bone-dry wasteland. Apply that globally. The breadbasket of the world is now a dead zone. The food supply collapses. Your provider instinct kicks in, but there is absolutely nothing left to harvest. And the heat? Scientists modeling the next real supercontinent, Pangaea Ultima, predict most of its deep interior would exceed 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter and hotter. Lethal for most mammalian life. You are roasting alive. But wait, that 104 degrees, that is just the daytime. To add insult to injury, dry desert air holds almost zero heat after sunset. Today's Sahara swings 13 to 20 degrees Celsius between day and night. Night temperatures drop to freezing right after a scorching day. On our new supercontinent, that swing is amplified. You get brutal heat stroke at noon and freeze to death at midnight. If the interior is a frozen oven and the coasts are gone, what exactly is waiting along the edges? With all the land smashed together into one massive block, you are left with one enormous, unbroken global ocean covering the rest of the planet. That is incredibly bad news. Today, hurricanes weaken when they cross cooler water or make landfall. Land acts like a natural brake pedal. But out there are no brakes. A storm could theoretically travel thousands of uninterrupted miles over warm, open water, continuously feeding its own intensity with absolutely nothing to break the cycle. It's a hypercane. This isn't just a Category 5 hurricane, it is a class of storm completely off our current charts. We are talking about a single storm system large enough to keep multiple entire US states locked under its outer bands simultaneously. Imagine a weeknight weather forecast trying to cover a storm larger than the entire regional viewing area. Looks like 100% chance of total annihilation tonight for everyone on the eastern seaboard. Grab an umbrella. Let's review the starting lineup of doom. Magnitude 9.5 mega-quakes, a crushed ocean swallowing the global economy, and hypercanes with absolutely no natural predators scrubbing the coasts. Seriously, think you could handle it? Given everything I just laid out, which is the lesser hell, do you take your chances freezing and crushing in the mega-mountain dead zone, or roll the dice on a storm-battered coastline? Frankly, neither option sounds great. But here is the part that genuinely messes with my head. We treat this like an apocalyptic, world-ending nightmare. But to the planet, this is just an ordinary geological Friday. Supercontinents have formed and broken apart roughly every 300 to 500 million years throughout Earth's history. It is a normal, repeating cycle, just how the machine works. Scientists already have a prediction for the next one. They call it Pangaea Ultima. Expected to form naturally in about 250 million years, when the Atlantic and Indian Oceans close up and the Americas reunite with Africa and Europe. Everything we described as a civilization-ending terror is essentially routine. A repeating cycle the planet already completed several times before humans existed to notice. What feels like the end of the world to us is just Earth shifting its weight. The planet is living its best life, completely indifferent to our panic. Let's go back to those crushed oceans. The video opened with continents violently crashing together. Now look at the total silent aftermath. A fundamentally different planet where our familiar coastlines, the map on your middle school classroom wall, simply no longer exist. Everything we treat as permanent is really just a pause in a process that never actually stops. But here is the kicker. This entire video was a compressed thought experiment. The underlying event itself isn't a hypothetical. It is real geologic history running in reverse at the planet's agonizingly slow pace. Every piece of land we call home is a broken-off shard of one original supercontinent. It came apart on its own over hundreds of millions of years of natural time, which begs a massive unresolved question. What force was powerful enough to tear one single unified landmass into every separate piece we live on today? And once you wonder about that, twist it one level further. Was the original unified version of Earth actually a better, more stable place to live, or was breaking it apart the only reason this planet became livable for anything like us in the first place? If you want to find out what broke Pangaea apart, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the follow-up. and drop a like on this video. The universe has laws, but we're here to push them to the breaking point. Until then, catch you on the next one.